All right. Hello, everybody. Welcome to Master Your Business, Master Your Life Coachathon Day 2. And before we start officially, I want to say hi in the comments. Drop a comment as well if you're here with me live, so I can see you're here. The only way I'll see if you actually drop a comment, because when I stream from Zoom and I'm not on my phone, I actually can't see who's joining unless you say hi to me in the comments. Hi, Eva. Welcome. Thanks for joining. So just as a reminder, what are those Coachathon sessions for? It's really for me to help you ladies for the next few days to overcome any challenges in your business, be a sounding board, give you advice. If you're working on something or challenging and you're struggling with something, this is for you to be able to experience the power of coaching. Hi, Jasmine. Great to see you. Great to see you. So every day I'm here for about 30 minutes. I will talk about, each day I have a topic that I will talk about for 10, 15, whatever. But this is to stall while you're thinking about questions to ask and so on. No, but I'm joking. It's not to stall, but also to give you some perspective and talk about subjects that I know, either might help my clients or I know entrepreneurs are struggling with. So give you that, plus offer help and coaching. So great to see you live. Thank you for joining. As I say, feel free to ask any questions as we go, as I talk about it, whether they're related to the topic I'm talking about today or not. I'm just here to help you in your business. So today I decided, yesterday we talked about building successful relationships in business. And if you missed that, I recommend you can always go back and rewatch it. It's in this group, it's under featured posts. I'm also posting this Coachathon on my Instagram profile and on YouTube under my name, Maggie Perotin. So you have a few ways to watch the replays, but the only way to get a coach is being live. So yesterday we talked about relationships, and today I thought we'll talk about mindset and how it is important, because we kind of know that it's important. We hear this buzzword, mindset, but what is it and why it is important? And sometimes even I feel like, there are people who think, no, my mindset is fine. And then yet their actions are showing otherwise. And I'll give you examples, a few examples. But where the whole concept of mindset is coming from, it's truly as humans and as science progresses, we start to understand how our brain works and what drives our actions and how we sort of operate as human beings. So the way the current science shows and the knowledge is that we have thoughts about the world, right? About the circumstances that we have in life, whether they happen to us, whether we create them or whatever, we have thoughts about them. Now, a lot of those thoughts are subconscious. We don't even realize that sometimes we do. An average human person has 80,000 thoughts a day. And a lot of them, I think 80 to 90%, we don't even know we have. So we kind of like the 10 to 20%, those are conscious thoughts that we think we're aware of them. We're, consciously choosing to do things and so on based on those thoughts, make conscious decisions. But the majority of them are subconscious. And this is really our brain that got trained throughout our life to think certain things as truth, to take them as truths, to create like shortcuts. Oh, if I see this, that means that, or I hear this, that means that, in order for us to function well, right? In order for brain to conserve energy, to have energy, like to breathe and pump the blood and all that, and keep us safe and alive. So now the thoughts that we have affect our emotions actually drive our emotions, right? And sometimes we don't realize that. Sometimes we actually feel certain emotions, but we don't know where it's coming from. Like, have you ever felt like, hey, I'm kind of down today, or I'm not feeling myself, but I'm not sure where it's coming from? It's been proven that it's the thoughts that drive the emotion. Again, they might be just subconscious, we don't know. And then once we, our feelings drive our actions. So everything we do is driven from the feelings, or even inaction, right? So not doing anything, it's also sort of some sort of an action that comes from certain feelings, that comes from certain thoughts. And of course, our actions create our results, right? So what we do or what we don't do, how we react to certain things, create what we want, or sometimes what we don't want. So now the trick to success in entrepreneurship and growing your business, but not also creating life that you want, is to truly use your brain as much as possible intentionally. And yes, unintentional, the way brain functions unintentionally serves us if the thoughts that we have are the ones that serve us, like, I'm great, I can achieve anything I want, I'm resourceful, I can figure things out. So when that is a pattern in your subconscious brain, then of course those thoughts serve you. You'll be more feeling better, you'll be more willing to take actions, and so on. If the pattern you have in your brain is more like, I can't figure it out, nothing ever works for me, or the world is against me, no matter what I do doesn't work, then there is a whole different strain of feelings you feel, and the action or inaction you take, and the results you create that you don't want. Now, it's not that black and white. We all have negative thoughts, and we all have, thoughts that empower us, that serve us. But in the modern, like, for example, coaching, what helps you is to have more of those thoughts that serve you, be more of the time in feelings that serve you, that drive you to take action that you want, that drive you to take actions that get you closer and closer to the results that you want. Okay. I'll give you some examples. And then again, feel free to ask questions as we go and so on. So I was having a conversation with somebody this week, and we were talking about, sort of like what coaching does and, how it helps people and so on. And I was talking about the mindset, right? That it is important because, again, it starts our thoughts, again, drive how we feel, and really starts there. And then we can take action. And that person was telling me, no, my mindset is okay. I believe in myself. I can achieve the goals and so on. It's just somehow I can't get focused on the thing that, they wanted to focus on. And they wanted to focus on sales, right? But then I said, well, why is that, right? Where is that lack of focus coming from? It's coming from your mind. It's not. And what it was coming from is that because they wanted to focus on sales, and sales is something that they need to work on. Sales is the skill that they don't have yet. Their mind was going to what it knows, what it's comfortable with, to work on the operational side of their business, right? So to improve some processes, maybe the delivery of service to the clients and so on. So it was avoiding getting uncomfortable and getting into learning the sales and practicing it and creating a strategy. And that's why she was experiencing the lack of focus, right? Or if you're experiencing procrastination, sometimes people are telling me, well, I'm so lazy, I procrastinate and so on. And I don't believe in laziness. I don't believe that as human beings, we're lazy. Usually, the procrastination comes either from us not having a good structure and foundation in the day-to-day and just getting overwhelmed by the never-ending to-do list, everything we think we need to do, and so on. So lack of prioritization and having some plan and so on. And then when we get overwhelmed, again, our brain will automatically try to avoid, because it knows we're setting ourselves up for fail. And we don't like that as human beings. Nobody likes that. So we start avoiding that, right? Or procrastination sometimes also comes again from the fear of doing something that we've never done before, or needing to learn something we've never done before. Why? Because it's uncomfortable, because it will take time and energy to learn, and our brain wants to conserve energy. Its priority for our brain is to keep us alive with the least amount of energy possible. So anytime we want to do something that serves us but will take energy, the brain's like, nope, I don't want to do it. And here's all the ideas why I shouldn't be doing it, whether you're realizing that that's happening or not, right? So I guess the one advice, or the first advice I have for you, is that whenever you are in a feeling or in a moment where you're not satisfied with kind of what are you doing in your business, like maybe you're procrastinating, or you are, not doing what you really want to do, not getting results, and so on, stop and try to be aware, whether it's through journaling or thinking or putting things on paper, is why is this happening? By first maybe recognizing the feeling. Okay, you know what, like today I'm not myself. I'm feeling, I don't know, disappointed with myself, and I'm feeling out of control, or I'm feeling whatever I'm feeling. And then ask yourself, okay, why is that? Like, give yourself time and space to figure out what are the thoughts that are driving that feeling. Because those thoughts might be, oh, nothing I do works, and so on, right? So like once you realize what's happening, or the thoughts are, I have so much to do that I just get overwhelmed, right? It's just, I have too much to do. Once you realize that, then you can actually do something about it. You can either organize yourself, or you can redirect your brain to the thoughts that are, serving you, and so on, right? Or you can get your reason brain, as I call it, creative brain, more of a human brain, not our primitive negative brain or fear-based brain, but our high-level thinking brain that can dream and so on, tell you that whatever you're thinking is not true, that you can be good at something, and that you can figure it out, whatever situation you're in, that you can learn anything, that you can, figure out, okay, what do I do now? What's the next step? What's a simple thing I can do? Okay. Now, we don't have a lot of time for me to show you the methods and so on. I do that with my clients more in depth when we work together. But another thing, so the second advice I would say, so one advice is like, get aware, right? So if you're not at your best, give yourself compassion, give yourself time and space to be aware as to what is causing you not being in the best mood possible, or in the most productive day possible, or whatever the case might be. The second advice, and I'm going to just expand on the Motivation Monday I did this week, into being able to feel and allowing yourself to feel any emotion, whether it's negative, whether it's positive, whether it's bad or good, however you want to label them. But really, there's emotions that are negative that serve us. So it doesn't mean like negative emotions never serve us. Some do, right? If we get angry on a situation and we decide to change for the better, anger is a good emotion for us, right? So sometimes a negative emotion can be positive ultimately for us. But being able to feel them and understand them can lead to the positive results. And again, I'll give you an example. I was talking to somebody else last week, and we were talking about, and they were in a similar situation to one of my current clients where they have, a lot going on in their personal life. They have a business, they have, small kids, and there's like a lot of things going on. And they were saying like, hey, I really love my business and I know I can get the results that I want, but like working at it, it's so hard, right? It's hard to make decisions and so on. And I said, yes, of course, it's true. And entrepreneurship is definitely not for faint of heart, and it requires a lot of personal growth that I believe it's amazing, and everybody should try just for that. Everybody should have a business just to experience the personal growth that goes with it. But usually the hard part is us thinking that we should feel a certain way and trying to suppress the emotions that we think are bad for us and so on, or us trying to avoid making certain decisions because we don't want to feel a negative emotion that comes with it, or a not comfortable emotion. And that's what's hard, because that's what's the hardest, really, because once we get past that, once we allow that emotion and we allow it to feel that discomfort, that fear of unknown, that, saying like, okay, well, I don't know where it's gonna lead me, but I know this decision is good for me, so I'm gonna make it no matter how scary it is. Once we can do that, then taking action on that decision is actually easy. Because for our brain, actually the most challenging things is being in indecision, or coming up with all those, how do you say, doom and gloom scenarios of what could happen on the other side of that decision, right? Or on the other side of what we're trying to do that maybe we've never done before. And we have a lot of that in entrepreneurship, right? We do a lot of things we've never done before, and they're naturally scary. We're all scared, okay? Being scared is actually normal, and it's okay, right? So once we're able to feel the emotion of maybe feeling scared, of outside of comfort zone, or not knowing what's on the other side, we're able to go past through that and make decisions and take actions despite it, it gets so much easier. So that's why I was saying that, on Monday, in Motivational Monday, that the key to success is allowing yourself to feel all types of emotions, right? Not suppressing them, because that drives procrastination or overwhelm, or sometimes us, exploding at some point or really not feeling good. But allowing those emotions, and then if anything, redirecting our brain through tools, whether it's journaling or whatever tools you use, to the thoughts and the emotions that serve us. And they don't have to be all positive. As I said, sometimes anger could be a very serving emotion, depending on the situation. All right. So that's sort of what I wanted to tell you today about. And I want to see if anybody has any questions, in whether it's in regards to what I was talking about, or whether it's about your business, about your life. Our brain is truly fascinating, how it works and how powerful it is, and how we can use that power if we learn how to serve us even more. Jasmine, Eva, do you have, ladies, any questions or any help you would like? Coaching on anything? Shelley, makes sense not suppressing the emotions. Yeah. And, just to add to that, very often when we let that emotion to the surface, it actually goes away on its own. And it goes away faster. It kind of gets replaced, right? I don't know if any of you does meditation, but in meditation, sometimes when they do guided meditations, they have that idea of, emotions or thoughts being like clouds, right? Where to just pass through, right? That your life, let's say, or you have a stable blue sky, and then there's thoughts, sometimes positive, sometimes negative, so like darker clouds then, but they ultimately pass, right? And because, again, as I said, thoughts drive our emotions. As the thought passes, the emotion passes, right? So it's actually much faster when you let yourself feel that and just be aware of it. It can pass on its own much faster than trying to suppress it and then it builds up, right? The funny example I gave the other day to someone is like, sometimes, when we have a partner and maybe they do things that upset us and we kind of like don't say anything, but it bugs us. So we suppress those emotions and then we burst out into like the smallest thing that they did, that they're like all surprised. Why are you so upset about this one thing? And then that anger doesn't come from this one thing, but all the build-up emotions, right? All the build-up little things. As opposed to if you let it out every single time or work through it, right? Understanding it's not that important, and then you never get to that buildup and that burst of emotions. Okay, Eva, based on your example, when we have already taken care of the mindset, why is the advice almost always to not to have to do anything else? I'm not sure I understand your question, Eva. If you could expand. I feel like the proper mindset has to be complemented with action. Oh, 100%. I don't know who is advising you not to do anything. That's not me. And if you understand that, then my apologies. No. Action always has to follow. So let's just be clear. In order to create the results you want, you have to take action, okay? It's just because the action is driven by how you feel, okay, the thoughts drive that feeling. So here's an example, Eva. Okay, not you. Okay, whew. I'm like, oh God, like this is everything what I'm against. If you ever got an advice saying, oh, just take care of your mindset and things will manifest themselves without you doing anything, this is somebody who doesn't even understand the law of attraction or manifestation properly, because if you really read through that, and I'm definitely not an expert in it, this is that the mindset coaching I do is a little bit different, a little bit more sort of logical, because that's what speaks to me, but I do know law of attraction a little bit. So if you really dive deeper into law of attraction and manifestation, the action is a critical part in there as well. And I will tell you like the similarities in a second, but I will give you an example. So imagine, so I'm a person who actually doesn't have a challenge with action usually. I don't tend to procrastinate. Actually, my problem is sometimes taking too much action coming from the more of a mindset that doesn't serve me. And what it does, it creates the same results. Like I don't get the results I want. Here it is. So for example, let's just say the simplest way, marketing in your business. If you market in your business from the mindset of nothing is working, no matter what I do, my clients don't want what I offer, I don't have value to offer, or nobody sees me or whatever, all those things that really don't serve you, even if you take my action, okay, from that place, when I'm in that thing, the results you will create will be exactly what you're thinking, because that negative energy and the output of your work is not going to be the best. Okay. Think about an example when you were trying to do a work when you really didn't want to do it. and all you were thinking about how you don't want to do it and so on, but you were sitting through because maybe it was an exam you were learning to, or maybe it was some work that you had to do, whatever, for school and so on, right? It took you 3 times as long to do it, and probably the quality of that work wasn't the greatest. And the thing is also the energy, if you're, especially in your video, you're writing copy for marketing and so on, your customers will feel it, subconsciously or not. So you might still be doing it, but the results is that. So when you take action based on like fear and like, this is not working and I need to do more, and then you get yourself into that hamster wheel, busy energy, not enoughness, that scarcity mindset. And the results are probably the same as if you weren't doing anything, okay? As opposed to, think of a time when you were just feeling on the top of the world. You were like, you know what? I have so much value to offer. Whatever I have, whether it's my services or products, are so amazing, and so people can benefit from it, that I just feel compelled to go and talk about it and be visible, because I don't want my ideal client to miss out. I know they need it. I know they want it. I need to be there to help them. How much productive you are, how much faster, whatever you're creating in marketing, you do that, and how much better the output is. And why is that? Because when you're more in a positive mindset, positive energy, you actually activate the creative brain, okay? The brain that can dream, the brain that creates solutions, the brain that's just like unique to you, okay? When we're in the negative energy, it's our primitive brain that works, and it's that fight and flight response when it only focuses on survival. There's no creation there. Here it's like, I need to conserve energy. I need to just do it with the minimal and like thing. That's why it takes you the longest. You feel super tired, even if you do things, okay? As opposed to when you're relaxed, when your mind is open, you feel good and empowered, you create better output, so much better marketing and faster, okay? So that's sort of the difference in the mindset and the action, even if you take the action. But very often, a lot of people, when they're more in the negative mindset, they actually don't do anything, right? They avoid, they procrastinate, and so on. I'm on the other spectrum. I'm just going to work myself to death. So I need to watch out that, right? I'm like, I need to do more. This is not enough. I need to do more. And again, the result is the same. I feel bad. I would, be tired, and I'm not getting the results I want. Okay. So now, Eva, just I will tell you about the manifestation and kind of the thought behind it when you take action. Okay. So action has to happen. You cannot think results through, like, you cannot create results just through thinking about them and trying to manifest. You actually have to take action. But the whole premise behind like law of attraction and manifestation is for you to, yes, visualize the results you want and attach the feeling, a positive feeling to it. And there's a couple of reasons for it. As I said, emotions drive our actions. So if you have a positive emotion attached to the results you want, the premise is you would be more likely to take the actions. Again, it will be more empowered actions. You will activate your creative brain. The output of your work will be better, and so on. So that's the one thing, okay? The other thing is you are telling your brain what to focus on in terms of what you want, as opposed to what to focus on in terms of what you don't want. Because the brain can't tell the difference. Whatever you're thinking about, the brain thinks, oh, it's important to Maggie. Maggie is watching news that's negative. She's thinking about crime all the time. I'm going to show her more. So Maggie will be seeing everything bad around her because that's what she's focusing on, and the brain thinks that's important, right? As opposed to when Maggie visualizes maybe the results she wants, the business she wants to create, the clients she wants to service, then the brain will be like, oh, this is important to Maggie. I need to be sieving through and doing my Google searches, helping Maggie get to that result the fastest way possible. And since she's in a positive emotion, she will take steps towards it, but at least she will see the opportunities that are out there with the brain helping you. Okay, I'll give you 2 examples how that works in a way that's easy to understand. Think about the last time you bought a car. Before you decided what car you wanted, color and make and so on, you probably didn't notice that as much, that car on the road. Like it was there, but it wasn't in your consciousness, right? Your brain was filtering that information out because it wasn't important to you. And our brain is like a Google search. It's a very potent engine filtering billions of bytes of information every day to help us again survive and work for us. The moment you decided on the car that you want to buy and the color, whether it was ahead of buying it or when you bought it, I can guarantee you were seeing that car everywhere around you. And do you think that just magically those cars appeared the moment you decided because some universe sent them on the earth? No, they were there all along. It's just you weren't paying attention to them. You didn't tell your brain it's important to you. The moment you told your brain it's important, it just started seeing it everywhere. And they were there all along, okay? Another example is when, if you go in a, let's say at the airport or a very loud environment, busy environment, and sometimes they talk through the megaphone, right? Or this flight, or that flight, or this and so on. And very often, I personally, you can't really understand what they're saying because it's so busy and, the speaking system sucks or whatever. But if that person called out your name, you hear it no matter how busy it is. And no matter how busy it is and how, unless they butcher it completely, but let's just say if they pronounce it well, you will hear it no matter how not focused you are and how loud it is. Why? Because for your brain, the name is like the most recognizable thing ever. It will pick it up from the, from the chatter and busyness and loudness of the thing, right? That's how our brains work. So visualization is helping your brain to know what to look for, but you still need to take action. Okay. Eva, Shelley, I heard a quote that was so good, works towards the life you want rather than the life you're trying to escape. Yes, yes. If you keep thinking of what you don't want, you'll get more of it. And it's true. It's true. Right. That was a good question, Eva. Awesome question. Any other questions? Or let me know if what I'm saying kind of makes sense and the examples I'm giving you make sense. So there are definitely no results without action, but we want to take action from an empowered place, right? From a conscious, intentional actions that are coming from intentional thoughts that drive sort of our action rather than unintentionally just going through the motions, doing things, and we don't even understand why we're doing them or whether they're serving us or not. Any other questions or comments? So yeah, in terms of redirecting your brain. So for example, when I coach my clients, when we meet every week and we talk about their business and whatever, of course we create strategy or intentional marketing strategy and like a plan where they implement it and so on. But as they encounter challenges, and sometimes whether there are real challenges and circumstances, whether through their mind, as we talk and coach, I'm able to pick up certain thoughts that come out of their mouth and they are not even aware of it, and say, okay, let's examine that, right? Where is this coming from? And that's how we slowly uncover those subconscious sort of beliefs or thoughts they have about either themselves or about their business or about whatever that are somehow holding them back, right? In different kind of areas, or holding them back to get past the challenge that they're encountering, not holding them back altogether, type of thing. Right. And I also give them tools and teach them how to do it themselves, so they're not like dependent just on me coaching them. Right. So you can do this in between the calls, and like definitely coaching is not creating dependency between me and the client, it's empowering them to do that themselves. Learn the skills of marketing and sales and business strategy and making decisions and so on, but also understand how their mind works, right? Where they sometimes are held back, how to uncover that, and how to redirect the brain to not get that. Thank you, Shelley, the cup. I actually bought it a few years ago for Valentine's Day for a couple like that. I think I gave them to my step boys because it was like a long time ago, even before the younger ones were born. So that's, ladybug. Any other questions, ladies? Super cute. Thank you. I like it because it's big. So for tea, it's perfect. Like it's a big cup for tea that I drink throughout the day. Okay, makes so much sense. Awesome. And I would tell you, like, before we finish, unless you have some questions, pop them in. But like, I will say one last thing about visualization, and kind of, again, to give you the example, like truly what visualization can do for you, and like how action is important. So for example, you might have heard that athletes, right? Like professional athletes, they do, in part of their training, they actually do visualizations where they're visualizing, let's say, the race or swimming, whatever they're doing, and winning, right? And they're kind of mapping out that route for the brain, that this is how I'm going to do it. And it does two things. Because our brain cannot differentiate between that something happened in reality and you actually visualizing it, it cannot really tell what that, there's a difference between the two. So it creates that ability for the brain to say, hey, I've already done it, and it's not new and it's not scary. So that also alleviates certain amount of stress for the athlete when they actually go out there and start racing, because the brain thinks, oh, this is something I've done before and I know how to do it, right? So it helps them with the mindset of keeping up, because there's a lot of pressure in a competition, right? And think about running or swimming, like the difference between the gold medal and like a fourth place is like split milliseconds, right? So what's winning those races? It's truly the mindset. It's not the skill of the athlete. It's like a half strike, right? So the best athletes in the world, they all have the physical capability to win. So a lot of it then in those, between the first place or second or third, it's really the mindset, right? So what they visualize is to allow the brain to sort of like, yeah, I've done it. Oh, I've won already this. I can do it again, and not be scared. It did also prove that it's kind of like almost you train a bit of, I don't know if it was endurance or muscle through it, but think about it this way. without actually going to the race, let's say to the Olympics, showing there up and swimming, you're not winning the medal, right? So you're not gonna get a real medal, a real result if you only visualize that. Even if your brain thinks that it won, right? To actually win all the accolades, win the money, win the sponsorship, whatever, and just have the prestige of a medal, you need to show up at the Olympics and you need to swim and do the race, right? So that's the difference between the visualizing and actually doing the thing. Visualizing helps, but it doesn't create the results we want. True result in reality, not just in our mind. I've never done visualization and manifestation. It's a good habit to cultivate as long as you pair it with the right action. Yes, definitely. It is a good habit. All right, ladies. So thank you very much for coming. I will go through the chat. If I missed any questions, I will reply to them like that in writing. Tomorrow, same time, 1:30 for day 3. We'll talk about another aspect of sort of business / life mastering your life, and then I will be available to coach you, as answer any questions you might have. So thank you for coming. Thanks for listening. Bye. See you tomorrow.